Hello, grade 7, are you fine? Today we are going to continue about suspension and colloids. This is the last part of the solution and solubility. What is the suspension? Look at this picture and to this. A suspension is a mixture where the particles are dispersed but are big enough to settle out or be filtered out. A mixture that needs to be shaken before use is probably a suspension, such as the juice, fruit juice. Example, mud or muddy water, where soil, clay, or silt particles are suspended in water. Paint needs to be mixed before use. A snow globe, like this, eventually settles. Orange juice needs to be shaken before use. Suspension, what is the difference between a suspension and solution? What is the difference between suspension and solution? A suspension is a mixture from which particles settle out upon standing. Suspension differs from a solution because the particles of suspension are much larger and do not stay suspended indefinitely. A solution is a homogeneous mixture, while suspension are heterogeneous because at least two substances can be clearly identified. The difference between a solution and suspension is easily seen when the type of mixture is filtered. Look at the filtration. The small size of the solute particles in a solution allows them to pass through filter paper. This is the solution. While in case of suspension, the particles of suspension can be removed by filtration. Look at the suspension like coffee are easily filtered to take out the tiny solid clumps floating in liquids. Solutions are mixtures that have particles that are so small they pass through most filters. Now let's see the colloids. Look at the pictures. Non-transparent, uniform, large particles, cloudy or milky, but stable system. Colloids. What distinguishes a colloid from a suspension and a solution? A colloid is a heterogeneous mixture. The particles are spread or dispersed throughout the dispersion medium, which can be a solid, liquid, or gas. The first substance to be identified as colloid were glues. Look at the glue. Colloids have particles smaller than those of suspension and larger than those of solution. This is a medium case. These intermediate-sized particles cannot be retained by filter paper, as are the larger particles of a suspension. They do not settle out with time. What is the Tyndall effect? You cannot see a beam of sunlight unless the light passes through particles of water or mist or dust in the air. These particles scatter the sunlight. Similarly, a beam of light is visible as it passes through a colloid. Look at the Tyndall effect. And this is through a window. And this is an explanation for the phenomenon. You can see the light beam as it passes through a colloid or suspension. Particles scatter light. This is the Tyndall effect with the details. A flashlight. In case of solution, no effect. In case of colloid and the suspension, the behavior of light differs. In case of colloid, we see a beam of light, where in suspension, the light disperses. The scattering of visible light by colloidal particles is called Tyndall effect. Suspension also exhibit the Tyndall effect. The particles in solution are too small to scatter light. What would be the ideal condition to see a red sunset? A misty or foggy evening would be ideal for seeing red sunset. There would be a large number of particles to scatter the sunlight. What is the emulsion? An emulsion is a colloidal dispersion of liquid in a liquid, such as oil in water, for example. Oils and grasses are not soluble in water. However, oils and greases readily from a colloidal dispersion if soap or detergent is added to the water. Three types of mixture: solution, colloid, and suspension. Examples: salt water air brass for solution, jello fog milk for colloid, and muddy water Italian dressing for suspension. The particles are ions, atoms, or molecules in solution, small clusters in colloid, large clusters in suspension. The size of particles: small in the solution, medium in colloid, and large in suspension. Do they scatter light? No. Yes. Yes. Settle while standing? No. No. Yes. Separate by filtration? No. No. Yes. This is a comparison between these three types of solutions. Thank you for watching. This is the end of our video. Goodbye.